Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cop Council. How are we all? Hopefully, all of you are having a fantastic Saturday evening wherever you are from around the world, anyway. And yes, it is our post match reaction to Liverpool's 2-2 draw against Fulham. There is only one word to simply say about it, and
Well, that was fucking dreadful.
yeah, it was pretty dreadful. I wanted to use that clip for so long, and yes, it was terrible from Liverpool today. Let's not hide behind it. And look, before any other rival fans come in here and go, look, oh, where's the excuses coming from? There was no excuses for Liverpool today. Look, we were shite, end of, and as well. But again, congratulations to Fulham as well. They played brilliantly, and so on. But yeah, let me know, guys, your thoughts in the comment section down below. Anyway, if you're new around here as well, viewing us for the first time, then please hit that like button and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. I think now we're 3 away from 700, so if we can get there as well, that would be very much appreciated. Again, big up to all of you guys as well in the comment section down below. I'll read a few of your comments out in a brief moment. Anyway, but for me, look, there was no hiding for Liverpool today. Absolutely no hiding. Of course, we're not, with a couple of hours afterwards now, of course, but again, there was no excuses tonight for Liverpool. Absolutely none. Look, Liverpool were crap from minute one. Again, I think even Jurgen spoke about afterwards, saying that the mentality of the boys wasn't there today. In terms of they didn't really prepare for what they should have prepared for, and I think we'll get more into depth about it. But I think again, Liverpool thought that it would be a very different game to what Fulham, brought to them. And fair play to Fulham as well. If they continue to play like that throughout the season, I think they'll have no problem. Especially Mitrovic as well. Again, he did cause a lot of problems today for Liverpool. Anyway, but guys, let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you all are doing in the comment section down below as well. Lucas saying Liverpool getting a draw, not good start. End of world. No, it's not the end of the world. Look, if you listen on Twitter and you listen on everything, even me, I was a bit down after the game. I was like, for God's sake, but that's the expectation of the Premier League, and that's not the end of the season. Don't get me wrong, but it is disappointing to get a draw against Fulham on the opening day. It's never nice, but again, I'm not one of these reaction channels which are like, oh, season's done, that's it, it's done. We're not winning the Premier League. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. It's one game in the season. Remember last season where Man City lost against Spurs, and everyone thought that they might have a slow start. They went on to win the Premier League. So again, look, draws will happen. As long as Liverpool, it's still possible Liverpool can go unbeaten. To believe that they'll get clipped as well. To be fair, anyway, Brian's in as well saying hi, Connor. Hello, Brian. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Fulham draws a shock. I expect you to win. I think everyone expected us to win, didn't they, Luca? To be fair. Talia O'Connor, Liverpool were poor today. Yep, we was absolutely Brian laughing at the in-betweeners clip. Yeah, to be fair, that's the only thing I can do because I can't extend that. Otherwise, I get copyrighted. But I don't for, I think, 4 seconds it is anyway. You were poor, but anything can happen in the Premier League. Absolutely. Charlie's in. Hello, Charlie. Hopefully, you're having a fantastic day. I don't think I've seen you in here before. Type of games we look back on the end of the season and say that cost us. Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, 100%. It is one of those games that you do go back on. You look at last season, we talked about, it wasn't the 2 defeats that, really cost us. It was the draws that, 2 defeats in a season, should we do a Premier League title? But when you look at the draws, the draw against, the 2 draws against Chelsea, the draw against Brighton, the draw against Brentford, and now the draw today against Fulham, you do look back at it and go, made that was the thing that cost us the Premier League title. And it is disappointing, and it is, it is disappointing and disheartening as well at the moment. But you look at it, Liverpool could go on now an amazing run. That's the thing where it's the first game of the season, for God's sake. It's going to take, you'll see hopefully next week, next Monday as well, when we face Palace. Hopefully you'll see a lot different Liverpool team, and again you'll see especially a furious Jurgen Klopp side. After a very disappointing game as well. And as Jurgen said, the boys didn't prepare for a game like this, and again, you look at around this team, we'll have a look at the starting 11 and so on, but you look at it, it was disappointing all round from Liverpool as well, and we'll speak about that. There was no one today that could run and hide behind anything. Everyone was poor anyway. But Anthony Sinsing, eye up your sausage. Hello, Anthony. Hopefully on a fantastic day, my friend. Yeah, massively disappointing. We never woke up until Darwin come on, and even after that we were sloppy. We will talk about Mr. Darwin Nunez getting a goal and assist on his Premier League debut. Not too bad, was it, for Mr. Darwin Nunez? Of course, we'll speak about him in a brief moment anyway. Nunez starts and we win that game. Our striker was on the halfway line for 60 minutes as well. But we will talk then about the starting 11 for the game anyway. And of course, it does say starting 11 prediction, but we did get the prediction right for once anyway in the Liverpool team. But this was the team that did play against Fulham today anyway. Of course, starting with the midfield three of Thiago, Fabinho, Hendo, Joel Matip alongside Virgil van Dijk, and Roberto Firmino playing in that 9 position instead of Darwin Nunez. And for me, out of all of those players, I'd say only 2 players could really have a conversation in being okay for me personally. I think, and we'll speak a little bit, obviously more. And guys, let me know your thoughts in the chat as well about Fulham's first goal. Of course, everyone would be going on about Trent and targeting Trent and so on. But I think there's so much more wrong with the goal than just, of course, Trent not going up for the header. I think you could look at Andy Robertson, Joel Matip as well, not doing their jobs. Of course, Robbo not stopping the cross to begin with and just easing off the Fulham player. Matip as well, not communicating with Trent where Mitrovic is. You look at Mitrovic, he's phenomenal in the air, and that's one of his best qualities in there. But for me as well, Alisson Becker as well, you could also criticise for. I know Ali has another pre-season. Of course, this is properly his first game in the Liverpool shirt, throughout pre-season and of course obviously now the season. But that, for me, I think it's a good header, don't get me wrong, but I think it's savable. I don't think Ali's in the best position that he could be. Maybe that's me critiquing too much potentially, but I just think that there's, of course, it's never great that Trent as obviously Trent didn't jump for the ball and Trent didn't do this, that and the other, but I think there's so many other areas where the goal could have been prevented. Like, of course, Thiago could have closed the position down earlier. Robbo could have stopped the cross. John Matip could have, positioned himself better to help Trent with the ball, and so on. And Trent himself could have done even better than what he did. There's so many elements to it. Not just Trent, Trent didn't go up for the ball. At the end of the day, it's Mitrovic. When he's got in the correct position and going for that ball, it's very hard to stop. You need a proper centre off, a Virgil or Joel Matip to stop him realistically as well. But again, it was a good goal. I'm not going to hide behind it. Fulham massively deserve to be leading this game. They massively deserve to be, ahead of Liverpool. I know that Liverpool had the offside goal with Luis Diaz, and that was a great goal as well, by the way. And Luis Diaz as well hit the post. And for me, it was Luis Diaz and Andy Robertson overall in that first half that could say they did an okay job. I think the rest of the team, though, the midfield three looked terrible. Jordan Henderson giving away sloppy balls and that. And I know Jordan Henderson's been given, massive critiqueness on social media and so on. But I think that, that's wrong in itself. I don't we can all have a go and we can all, not target players, but we can all have a go at certain elements of that. When you're outright hating on a player halfway through a game, what are you doing with yourself? And that's just Twitter and social media within itself. But I think constructive criticism is a good thing. With Jordan Henderson, for me, looked better as a 6. As an 8, he looks terrible for me. Thiago didn't look right, of course, getting injured later on in the game. Fabinho didn't even look right. They looked knackered. I'm not gonna hold that much excuses, but the midfield three looked shattered. Within 20 minutes, half an hour of the game. and that was just because running around so much and trying to defend. And fair play to Fulham, and of course Andres Pereira as well. I mean, Andres Pereira was told from minute one, target Fabinho. Fabinho is the link-up play between the defence, the midfield. That was the area where they, were phenomenal at. They'd have, Mitrovic targeting both Joel Matip and Virgil van Dijk, and then of course, Pereira following Fabinho around wherever he was. He would literally just follow Fabinho from minute one. And that's the thing for me, which Fulham did tremendously well as well. But let me know, guys, your thoughts as well, just on Fulham's first goal, because I think plenty of people have different thoughts, different opinions. Excuse me, in the comment section down below as well. And guys, don't forget to share that, share out the stream as well, and like and share as well if you could. Be very much appreciated. As always, I've just read Anthony's comment about Arsenal. To be fair, here, well, actually, to be fair, yeah, massively disappointed. We never woke up until Darwin. Come on, I read that comment. Sorry. Yeah, of course says, yeah, of course. Says Nunez the starter. We win that game. Our striker was on the offer line for 60 minutes. Hendo was poor. Nunez has to start every game. Says Gary. Anthony says end of the season. Title race is over. Arsenal are champions. If you listen to Twitter, yeah, Arsenal are champions. They are the best team in the world now at the minute. Also, Forest are still shite as well. Yeah, I don't think they had the best of games, did they? Against Newcastle, was it today? Anthony with thumbs up as well from Brian as well. Get those likes up, peeps. Yeah, if you could, again, massively appreciated as well. And if you're new around here, please hit that subscribe button. I think we're 3 away now from 700. So if you can get there, it'd be very much appreciated. As always, anyway. And as I've said that, now the chat's just gone all the way up. There we go. Gary's gone. Liverpool will still be champions. I bloody hope so. Doug's in anyway, saying, well, that wasn't great, but only start of the season. Fulham deserved their point today. I'd even argue they deserve to win. Poor performance all around, but there are 37 match weeks left. Nothing won. Exactly, Doug. Exactly, and that's a fantastic comment there from Doug. It is that. It's the fact that Jurgen Klopp even turned around and said in the interview earlier on, Liverpool should never have got anything from this game, and they still did. And it could go either way as well. We've spoken about how, we spoke about last season, how the Brentford draw, the Brighton draw, you look at them and, you go, that cost us the league. You think about it, this point could win us the league. That's how mad the Premier League season is. And again, look, it's the first match week. If we were to lose next week, then fair enough, you could turn around and go, what's going on, what's happening. But again, I think pretty much every single Liverpool channel, every single person on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all over social media has said what an abysmal game this was for Liverpool Football Club. And the fact that we've come away with it with a point is very, very good, in my opinion. And it shows as well the likes of Darwin Nunez coming on, making that impact that we of course all hoped that he would bring. But as well, from minute one when he was on, he looked on it, didn't he? And as well, I think it will be interesting as well with Darwin, whether or not he starts next week or not. Evening, mate. Hope you're well, says Chris as well. Good evening. Hendo was abysmal. He can't drop another performance as bad as that. No, I don't think he can neither, to be fair. Worst problem thing is Thiago's hamstring injury. Yes, that is now the worst thing, isn't it, Doug? Again, Jurgen Klopp saying that it is a bad hamstring injury by the looks of things, which... Again, does that mean Liverpool dip into the transfer market? You look at it now, that's Thiago injured in the midfield, Curtis Jones, Naby Keita. It's not good news, is it? And I know Klopp's turned around and said in, of course, the later press conferences, saying that, look, Liverpool got 8 midfielders, we're fine on that front and that. We all know, don't we, how injuries can happen if you're overplaying players. And again, for me, we've all said it, haven't we? We've said it from probably last summer as well. Liverpool need another midfielder. Again, Fabio Carvalho has been added to that, but again, we need that one more. And I said jokingly on Twitter, didn't I? Anyone got Borussia Dortmund's number on speed dial? And a lot of people, didn't react well to that. I think overall on Twitter, but other people mentioned it as well. But it's the truth. It's like, and look, Jurgen's turned around and said that Liverpool won't go back in the market this summer. But if it is called upon, then Liverpool won't just go and sign a short-term answer. We won't, like he said earlier on, we won't, unless it makes sense right now and makes sense long term as well. Then Liverpool will do it. But the problem is, at the minute, we quite clearly know what the answer is for Liverpool, and that's Jude Bellingham. And is Jude Bellingham available? Absolutely not. Unless you're offering stupid money, which is like, what, 150 mil, something like that. He's not getting anywhere out of Borussia Dortmund, I would say anyway. But Brian says, yeah, Fulham were excellent too. Can't forget that as well. Makes me think we go into the market now, says Doug. Again, I don't know. I'd wish so. I'd hope so. But for me, I just don't think it'll happen. I think Klopp would be, with Naby and Costas coming back next week, you still have Hendo, you still have Fabinho, you still have Harvey Elliott, you still have not Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones is going to be back in 2 weeks' time, but Hendo, Fabinho, Naby, Harvey, James Milner as well, Carvalho as well. I think Klopp would still be happy with that, but it's not. One more injury, then you look at it and go, Christ, we are lacking in midfielders again by anyway. But Chris has gone Fulham were better team for most of the game. I think they'd be disappointed with the point, but they've snapped your hand off before that of the game. As for us, the way off as well. No, exactly, 100%. We better go into, I think that's the market as well, says, yeah, of course. Any news of it, Thiago, as well, says Brian. As far as we know, it's just a bad hamstring injury. There's been no news of it. You'd guess scan tomorrow, as Doug said, but their Klopp said it's a serious hamstring injury, Brian, as well, which, again, you look at that, 4 to 6 weeks, I think it could be for Thiago, but again, we'd know more on scans and that. But again, it's still not good when you have Jurgen turn around and go in, straight away, a hamstring injury, and it looks bad. That's never ever good, is it? Straight away, anyway. But Trent has to take part responsible. But why was the cross for Mitrovic goal wasn't stopped? Exactly, that's what I mean. And that's the thing. It's not. Trent is at fault for not jumping for the ball. But I think, again, you could blame Thiago, you could blame Andy Robertson, Joel Matip again, as well. For me, there's so many, points where it could have been stopped. Then you could say, as Brian says, for fuck's sake as well. Trent let a Serbian tank get a run on him as well. Yeah, a little bit, but again, I think it is a little bit on Joel Matip's fault for. Because you look at Trent, he's more, of course, he's looking at the ball, but Matip's looking at Mitrovic, and again, at that point, it's over. But again, I think Ali could save the ball a lot better than what he did. But again, it's hard to really say that as well, to be fair. John is in as well, saying, big up Connor, you cheating bastard. Hello, John. We better have be in the market, Doug. First game of the season, he brings on James Milner. No disrespect, but just not on. To be fair, James Milner was the best midfielder on the pitch today. This man by here was the best midfielder on the pitch. And, do you know what? Apart from Darwin Nunez, he'd probably be my man of the match as well for Liverpool today, because he was amazing when he came on. And he did truly, bring it for Liverpool. He did change the midfield, change the mentality of the game, and straight away, changed everything for me personally, to be fair, on the Liverpool side of things anyway. But for me, guys, I think, look, it's plain and simple. Yeah, I'd agree. You shouldn't be relying on a 36-year-old James Milner to change a game. You shouldn't, but again, it's one of those things, isn't it, in football. But Jordan Henderson pass across to Salah, cut out, then they score so much wrong with that goal as well. Yeah, absolutely, as well. Now you scroll back up, guys, because the chat is scrolling tonight. Klopp will bring in another midfielder before the window closes, I think, says Data as well. I'd like it if he could. Yeah, of course, 100% as well, says Doug. I think Mitrovic was always going to jump all over Trent, regardless if Trent jumps or not. Yes, again, I would agree 100% as well. But it's that as well, and we said this in the preview show as well. If Fulham can produce the type of football that they did last season, I think they'll do fine in the Premier League. It's just the fact, can they do that? Can they transform it? And they did that tremendously well against Liverpool. But the problem is now, can they do it against the next 5 teams in the league? Probably not. But against Liverpool, of course, first day of the season, they'll show up easily. But you look at it probably next game. I don't know who Fulham got next, but watch Fulham will lose now the next game, and then you're like, well, why couldn't Liverpool do that? And that's the frustrating thing about it, isn't it? If even a not a poor Liverpool team, but if a Liverpool team in the middle turns up, you're like, you know, you think Liverpool could win. And that's the annoying part about it. Anyway, but I think Mitrovic will run that. I read that comment. They got Doug as well. Chris says, but we managed to get something. No one is judged on opening game of the season. We move on. No, exactly 100% as well. But speaking of moving on as well, let's speak about this man, Mr. Darwin Nunez as well, getting his first Premier League goal for Liverpool Football Club and getting an assist as well later on in the game as well. But for me, when he came on for Roberto Firmino, and I said I thought that Bobby Firmino should have started over Darwin Nunez. I'm going to admit it, I was wrong. Darwin Nunez should start next week against Crystal Palace. From minute one, you could tell that Liverpool needed someone that would just stand up there and just go in behind and try and get the ball and try and force something, and that is exactly what Darwin Nunez did. For me personally, guys, my man of the match, 100% Darwin Nunez, changed the game for me when he come on. And of course, it was after the Thiago injury, and of course we hope Thiago is okay, but like we did mention, serious hamstring injury, that's a problem. It is a real problem, especially when you already have a player out already with a bad hamstring injury in Diogo Jota. But for me, guys, I think, look, he did change the game today against Fulham. I think Bobby, and this is the thing where you look at it and you go, like Liverpool, when you've got players playing, when you've got the likes of Bobby playing, terrible, and you've got the players like Trent playing terrible as well, it does have a massive effect on everyone. You look at it as soon as Darwin Nunez come on, and like I did say, he wanted to run in behind. He wanted to, go on and beat the defense and beat the man, and that's what he did on 3 or 4 occasions. We just speak about the goal, but earlier on before the goal as well, he tried the same thing, and yes, it didn't work out that time. The second time he did it, he scored, and that's the thing with Darwin Nunez. He'll create opportunities for Liverpool to score and for him to score as well. And if he continues doing that and continue doing what he did against Fulham, for me, he'll banging goals this season, and it's exciting. It is very exciting. And look, it was brilliant to see that it was something different. Yeah, you can play Roberto Firmino against the Chelseas, the Man Cities and so on, and play that possession type football, that link up style football with Luis Diaz and Mo Salah. But when you need someone, like a goal, then, and I don't think Liverpool have had this for a very long time. And again, he is a very old style type striker, on the last man, with gets into space, shoots when on sight. You look at that shot that he had, went across goal as well. But there was 4 or 5 or 3 or 4, I should say, opportunities that Darwin did have that looked promising. And again, I can't wait to see him next week as well. But for me, guys, I think he, as Chris said, there Nunez looked special, and he did look special. And every single opportunity he had going towards the ball, and I had to laugh as well at Fulham fans singing at him, "You're just a shit Andy Carroll," and I'm like, he's just scored against you, and you're singing that. Like, it's laughable. And look, probably Darwin doesn't even know who Andy Carroll is unless someone has told him already. But for me, everything there was probably that one situation where he got the ball underneath him that, of course, he can do better at. But again, every single possible thing that could have gone right for Darwin went right today. Got his goal, got an assist for Mo as well. And again, that will add confidence to him. And, next week now in Anfield, hopefully furious Jurgen Klopp side next week against Fulham, against Crystal Palace, sorry, not against Fulham. And hopefully Darwin will be a part of that anyway. But let me know, guys, your thoughts on Darwin Nunez and his performance anyway from today's game anyway. But Elskos says, I feel like every single player did at least one bad thing that cost us the game as well. We will speak about Fulham's second goal in a minute anyway. I think today proves we need to sign a midfielder, mate, as well. I'm not against it. I'm not going to lie. I think Liverpool should be bringing one more midfielder in. But again, I think, look, Will it happen? Who knows? Like I did say, I think personally Liverpool are full in that Jude Bellingham basket. Is it possible this summer? No, it's not, sadly. Unless, of course, you are offering 200 odd million quid. Yeah, 150, 200 million. That's the only way you're getting Jude Bellingham out of Borussia Dortmund this summer, anyway. Leicester have had as many shots as Forest in the Premier League season, for God's sake, Anthony. Just saying, we've lost the league title by a point in the past. The draws kill us every year, says Jack as well. Hello, Jack, as well. Hopefully on a fantastic day. But yeah, we spoke about that as well. It could be, you could look at it one way or the other. This draw could be a draw that stops Liverpool winning the league, or it could be a draw that wins us, wins the league by a point. It's one of those things, isn't it? But again, it is disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's not disappointing. Of course, it's disappointing that we've drew against Fulham, but look, it's not the end of the world. Next week we'll go again, and of course, hopefully we'll batter Crystal Palace next week. No, if we play anything like we did today, then no, we've got no chance. But yeah, we'll see next week anyway. Come and get Yuri for 35 million, in my opinion. You'd love that, wouldn't you, Anthony? You would absolutely love that, to be fair. Nunez has to start next week as well, says Gary. For me, I would agree. Q Fulham, yeah, I think rolling over for City. Yeah, rolling over for City. Yeah, if they got City next week, if they have, then yeah, Jesus, they will absolutely roll over them next week. Bobby didn't get forward once. No, I think that was the thing, wasn't it? Bobby got into the space, but for me, the big problem was for Liverpool was instead of starting the build up play and then moving forward, it was just Van Dijk, Matip, Fabinho, Van Dijk, Matip, Fabinho. Van Dijk would ping a ball to Mo or Trent. It wouldn't work, and then you'd have to reset, and it'd be the same thing constantly. Whether if it would be on the left side, the right side, that happened way too much for me today. The fact that we tried that diagonal ball way too much, and sometimes it worked. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it worked, but other times it did not work. It failed massively, and that's the problem where Liverpool just needed that something. I think if we had a Naby in this game, someone that could drive the ball a bit forward, and that's what Thiago's meant to be a little bit, drive the ball forward, but it didn't work today, and that's a big problem. And of course, it's something that teams, of course, knows for Liverpool. Ping a ball across, and I get that, but yeah, for me, I just don't think. It didn't work clearly today for Liverpool. Correction: Nunez was the best midfielder on the pitch as well. It's the best player on the pitch, and yeah, I know Nunez got on about Anthony. If I see another one touch instead of spam crosses from Hendo, I'm jumping out the window. Midfield got bullied big time. Yeah, it did, especially Jordan Henderson as well. I think we have Fulham next as well, says Anthony. I'm worried for Leicester. I'm not gonna lie. I know we did the Premier League thing, didn't we? I don't know. I'm worried for Leicester. I just am. Schmeichel leaving. I think Ricardo Pereira now is out for 6 months or 7 months, and that. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I just think that Leicester might be a little bit in trouble unless they sign a couple of players before the window shuts. Anyway, if Mitrovic can stay consistent throughout the season, Fulham will be fine. But Mitrovic has been inconsistent in previous times. He's been in the Premier League. I would agree, 100%. Again, if he's anything like he was today, then 100% they'll be fine. As well. And of course, him getting 2 Premier League goals opening day is very, very good for Fulham as well. Nunez looks special as well, says Chris, which means Leicester 9-0 as well, for God's sake. Nunez changed the game 100%. I love Bobby, but Nunez has to start. He's something different as well. Fulham fans singing "Who's the Scouser" in the Black was jokes. No, Anthony, it wasn't. I can check all over them as well, says Makendo. That's all we can hope for. We have a rocket up our backside going into Palace game and give them a battering. I'd hope so. I bloody hope so as well. Aston Villa tomorrow behind closed doors will be good for our defensive egos. They looked lackless in front of goal as well. Yeah, that is true as well. There is a behind closed door friendly tomorrow, which I don't think. Do you know what? It's meant to be a friendly. I don't think many things are going to be spoken about tomorrow because I don't think many players are going to play tomorrow. Maybe we might see, the likes of Joe Gomez play and so on, but I don't know. I don't think many players we'll see tomorrow. Anyway, but Diego Carlos looked like a mess there. I haven't seen the games, to be fair. I'm going to watch the highlights after on the TV because I'm just watching. I think now they're doing the Premier League thing. I've got the telly over there, to be fair. Anyway, but we'll get on then to Fulham's second goal and the penalty. I said this on Twitter. For me, I don't think it's a penalty. It might be me. Look, Mitrovic does fantastically well to foot, Virgil van Dijk and to, outmaneuver him. And I know Virgil does put a foot out, but there's no contact for me. I'd like to see an image of someone, because I haven't seen anything on Twitter of someone actually showing, contact between Mitrovic and Virgil van Dijk. For me, there was none. I get that he's done Van Dijk and he's done Virgil and he's got past him and the foot is out. But for me, it's not a penalty in my opinion. It's not a penalty. And look, Ali was unlucky not to get there as well. It was a very good penalty from Mitrovic as well. But for me, I don't see the contact for me personally. Maybe that might be wrong. And as Anthony said, but they're absolute penalty if that as the only end you're screaming for it. Yeah, of course, absolutely. But for me, I just didn't think it was a pen. Oh my God, that flick from Messi for that's called not human. Wow. Thank you, Makendo, for that. Look at the knees. I did. And I don't think there was contact. Nailed on penalty, lad. For me, I might be massively in the wrong here. I'm happily to admit that I'm wrong. But for me, I didn't think it was a penalty. But did I think Fulham deserved it? I did. Them just overall play, I thought they played much better than Liverpool. But for me, I didn't think it was a penalty. But again, I'd be happy to admit that if I'm wrong. And so on. But, I think that's the first penalty Liverpool have conceded, I think, for over 14 months, I think, Liverpool. Might even be longer than that. I think the last penalty Liverpool conceded was against Everton at Anfield back in the miserable days where we didn't have any centre-halves. I think that was the time where Liverpool last conceded a penalty, which is a very, very long time, to be fair. But again, it was just sloppy, wasn't it? And as someone's already mentioned, the play in between it, Henderson, not doing his job again in the midfield, and just overall, I think Joel Matip as well had a very, very weird game, and I think he was, I think Mitrovic did him as well, and just left it for Virgil to clean up the mess, as we'd say. But again, I think there was so much wrong for Liverpool today. And again, there's only a certain amount of players. I think, the only players that could say they had like an okay game or a decent game, a brilliant game for Nunez, for me. But then the other players, Luis Diaz as well, hit the post and so on. And then Andy Robertson as well, for me. I think you could also say had a decentish game. At left back, of course, sometimes did look a bit dodgy. But again, I thought he had a very, very decent game. On that left-hand side for Liverpool. Anyway, I've got the wrong image anyway, but we'll speak about Mo's goal as well. And of course, Mo breaking the record now, 6 opening day fixtures now he has scored in. I think that's I'll call it, he broke the record last year for the most amount, but again, further extending his own record. But he is now the joint 8th top goal scorer for Liverpool. He has gone over Michael Owen in the record books anyway. And again, Liverpool legend, now without a shadow of a doubt. Again, it was a tap-in, and don't get me wrong, it was ridiculous as well how quiet he was throughout the game. But again, there when you needed him, and again, just a slot in from a very good. I think to be fair, I think Nunez was going to slam it in, but then of course Mo did take it off of him to score as well. But again, was he now 8th, like I said, in the all-time goal scorers list. Again, Mo Salah, even when he has a terrible game, scores as well. But I hope Anthony Savadi is going to equal it, as he is on 5, by the way. Is he really? I didn't know that, but I think Mo's not there. But yeah, I think Mo, again, though, poor game, but scores and got an assist as well, which is the same as Darwin Nunez. So if I'm giving Darwin Nunez high praise, then I should really give Mo high praise, but not really, because he was absolutely shite as well at times as well. But as Ant says that, I like the look of Carvalho as well. He is very exciting as well. I'd like to see him in the midfield three. Did come on for Luis Diaz in that left wing position, but for me, I'd much prefer to see him in that left hand side in that Thiago role. For me, I think he could do something special there. I do generally think he could. But of course, Jurgen will have to decide that anyway. Vardy is going to equal it, as I read that out as well. Yeah, I'm with you, Connor. I didn't think it was a penalty, but with our performance, I didn't complain when they were awarded it. Yeah, no, exactly, and that's the thing. Like they deserved it. Did they batter Liverpool at times? I think even if you look at the XG, I think Fulham, had like 1.52 and Liverpool had like 1.32 or something like that. They massively deserve to be, either drawing or winning the game, hands down anyway. And yeah, I didn't really complain, to be fair. Carvalho has posters of Kevin, for God's sake. No, he doesn't have a Dewsbury Hall. It's the other way around, to be fair. Liverpool was slow moving the ball today. 100%. Wouldn't argue with that. 100% with you guys. Elliot also must start. Connor, yeah, I would agree. I think next week, guys, and let me know in the chat down below. Let me know your midfield three for next week, because no Jordan Henderson, sorry, no Thiago, no Curtis Jones. Naby will be back next week as well, which is a good sign. If you're happy about Naby being back as well. But for me personally, if you were to ask right now, what would be my midfield three? What would be my midfield three for next week? It would be Fabinho, Harvey Elliott, and Naby Keita for next week. And that's me being honest. That would be my midfield three for next week. Does Jordan, for God's sake, Anthony, do I think Jordan Henderson deserves to keep his place after the bad performance? No, not really. As well, but for me, that would be my midfield three. Anyway, and Anthony, your prediction's wrong, because Ox is injured. Morton's out on loan, you son of a bitch, as well. Luckily, we've got 37 games left in the league as well. Exactly. And again, Liverpool win next week now, and it'll be all forgotten. And that won it on Twitter and so on. Anyway, but Morton, Ox, and Alan as well. Alan. As well, if you're watching Jack's 1892 Red Podcast stream earlier, and that was funny when Makenda was just shouting Alan for Alan St. Maximin. That was funny. Keita, Fab, and Elliot as well, says Gary. Yeah, I would agree. Again, that is my midfield three for next week. And again, it would be Darwin Nunez starts again for next week. But of course, stuff can happen from now until next Monday as well, because I think Monday at 8 o'clock Liverpool do play against Crystal Palace as well. We do have the late one next week as well. To be fair, as Anthony says, you've missed me. I've absolutely not missed you whatsoever, my friend. Hendo needs a rest as well, from Gary as well. But guys, before we do head off anyway, let me know your man of the match in the comment section down below, if you can give me a man of the match. For me personally, like I mentioned earlier on, it would be short and sweet. It would be this man by here, Mr. Darwin Nunez. For me, as soon as he come on around that 50-minute mark, completely changed the game. Constantly got him behind, constantly looked like he was going to do something with the ball. Had 3 or 4 opportunities to score, didn't he? But for me, overall, was by far Liverpool's best player. And again, looked to be doing something decent every single time he was on that ball for Liverpool anyway. And again, that goal threat. And you don't really, just see McKendo's freaking comment, freaking out McKendo. You always look at Darwin Nunez and look, he does remind me of a very old style, striker for me. And I can't wait to see what he does next week as well, if he does play anyway. Yuri, Fab, and Naby, as you will be buying Yuri next Monday, God willing. No, Anthony, absolutely not. Mitrovic, if it was overall man of the match, yeah, Mitrovic will be my man of the match. Was brilliant, wasn't he? But for Liverpool, I'd give it for Darwin Nunez. Anyway, Nunez, man of the match. Milner, I would absolutely agree with that. El Scouser as well. Hendo as well, says McKendo as well. Congrats to Mo on equaling Michael McLowen on the goal list as well. Absolutely, of course. Hopefully next week now he'll get over them as well. But I think now he's number 8 on the list now for Liverpool. Oh, I think if he scores 30 goals this year, I think he'll move up to third in the list. I could be wrong with that. Third or fourth in the list anyway. So it is very close in between it as well. But nice one for tuning in today, mate, as well, says Jack as well. And that Robinson looked good for them as well. No, again, Fulham had plenty of players that played well. Pereira looked decent as well. Like I did say, he stopped that play, didn't he, between the centre backs and Fabinho. I thought he did that very, very well. Mitrovic as well was a big shout. But in terms of Liverpool, of course, work has to be done now within the week, and hopefully, the Reds will come back, better and stronger next week as well, and look a completely different side. Hopefully, and fingers crossed as well next Monday. Anyway, but anyway, guys, that is going to be it from us for tonight. Anyway, big thank you to each and every single one of you for tuning in to the post-match reaction. Sorry, it is late as well. I was going to do it after the game, but I did have to do a few things. Adult life, then I should say. Realistically, even though I am still I am a huge child at the minute anyway. But again, look, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world, guys. Look, it is disappointing. Don't get me wrong. It is infuriating, and it is disappointing that we have drawn to Fulham. But look, there's still 37 Premier League, games to go this season. And again, look, next week could be a completely different story. We could end up battering Palace, 6-7-0, and then it's all forgotten then, isn't it? Anyway, but I will say anyway, support West Ham tomorrow because they are against City, and I hope City do lose. Anyway, but of course, I don't really care about it. But again, many people have different thoughts, different opinions in the comment section down below. Anyway, and again, look, guys, as well, don't freak out, don't panic, don't listen to social media, don't listen to the stupid accounts elsewhere as well. Look, it's the beginning of the season. Nothing's decided yet. Again, it could be of course we've spoken about it. It could be points lost, but then it could be a point that wins us the Premier League title. Who knows? But hopefully it will be better next week as well. Anyway, but guys, we'll be live probably tomorrow as well at 9 o'clock. We'll hopefully be speaking a bit more about this game and about other things as well. Hopefully we'll have some news about Thiago as well, and that injury, of course. Anyway, but guys, please stay safe, please stay well. Anyway, and hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow at 9 o'clock again on the channel. Anyway, but yeah, like I did say, hopefully all of you had a fantastic Saturday evening anyway, apart from the disappointing result anyway. But I've been Connor from the Cup Council. I'll see you all tomorrow. Ta-ra.